Building a personal brand on YouTube is hands down the biggest opportunity for 2025, especially if you are starting from zero. You might be thinking it's too late to join the party, but trust me, we're just getting started. Last year, the creator economy was worth about $250 billion. Now it's projected to nearly double, hitting $480 billion by 2027. So this is your opportunity to ride that wave. Whether you are stuck in a 9-to-5, or maybe you're running a business, but you want more clients and you want to put your name out there a little bit more, YouTube is the highest leverage way to do it. Now I get it. Starting can feel like it's a bit overwhelming, and you might feel nervous about creating content and pressing the publish button. That's why I'm gonna give you the full YouTube masterclass and walk you through the exact frameworks I use and the frameworks I also teach my clients on how to build a magnetic personal brand on YouTube starting today. Let's go ahead and dive into the YouTube masterclass. The most important thing when it comes to creating content on YouTube and succeeding in content is building your tribe. It's essentially, who is it that you want to appeal to? And how are you actually going to bring value to them? Because you have to give people a reason for why they should be following you. How you're going to decide on how you're going to build your tribe is you want to look at the three major money-making markets. And there's really only three when it comes to selling services, coaching, consulting. And these are the things that people actually pay money for. So the main things people spend money on is really their health, wealth, and relationships. For health, it's like if you don't have health, it doesn't matter how much money you have. That's why you spend so much to keep yourself healthy, or if you're unhealthy, become more fit. Wealth, obviously, if you're, someone like me who teaches people how to quit their 9-to-5 and make money, I'm essentially selling wealth. It's the opportunity to make more money than you currently are at and buy your freedom. Now, the last piece is going to be relationships, right? Because even if you have money and you have health, if you feel lonely, you're going to pay a lot of money to learn how to fix that problem. So once you kind of identify where you want to play, then you can dive into, okay, I'm going to serve this particular category, but we need to niche in a little bit further. Now, when it comes to building your tribe, there are two questions or things you have to pay attention to. The first one is, who are you attracting? And the second is, what's the 0 to 1 transformation? Now, for attraction, it's essentially like when you create content, you're trying to get people to come to you, right? So if you're helping people make more money by creating content on Instagram, you're attracting all these people that want to, have the dream of becoming a creator, right? It's pretty obvious that how you're attracting them. Now, the other step that's not so obvious is the transformation. So let me explain what a 0 to 1 transformation is. For me, right, in the Founder X program, I take people who have 9-to-5 jobs and I help them quit their jobs so that they can build a personal brand and make money. That transformation is considered a 0 to 1 because it completely flips their life, right? It's not like I'm coming to them and saying hey, you make $100,000 a year, but what if you can make $150,000, right? That would be like a 1 to 2 transformation. It's taking something someone is already doing and you're just kind of making it better. But if I said look, I've been doing this myself for the last 7 years. It completely changed my life. I used to be a tech sales rep and now I'm free. I'm making content. I'm living in Vietnam. I'm doing great. Do you want me to teach you how you can do it too? And they're going to be like, absolutely, please, Patrick, how much does it cost? That is a 0 to 1 transformation. And that's where the real money is made. You want to think of it like you're selling this new opportunity to somebody. And if they get the result and everything looks good, it just completely changed their life. If you're charging a couple $1,000s, right, for a program, and it does change your life, it's 100% worth it because it changes their entire trajectory. So when you think about the content you make, ask yourself, are you actually taking someone from 0 to 1? And if not, rethink how you do it. So let's say I use this particular video as an example, right? It's about how to, basically start a YouTube channel. Now it's targeted towards people who don't really have a YouTube channel. They're trying to figure it out. Like if you're watching this, that's probably you. So if I show you all the techniques and strategies on how to do it in this video, a lot of goodwill is deposited, and perhaps one day, we'll work together in some capacity, right? Because you got so much value from the free content. And that is a 0 to 1 transformation. And the better your transformation, the more dramatic it is, the more you help someone escape the pain that they're currently in, the more goodwill that is built and the more people will respect you and watch your content. So now that we understand that you need to attract your tribe and give them a transformation from 0 to 1. The next step is actually playing the role. When you're creating content, there are going to be a couple of roles that you can play, right? And the role you play will depend on how much experience you have in the thing that you are teaching. Let's say you were a sales rep for 10 years, right? And now you want to start coaching people in sales. Well, you have a lot of experience. So how you approach YouTube is probably more as coming in as the expert. Now, what if you were trying to be a creator in AI, and no one is really a expert in AI right now because it's so new, right? So everyone's kind of like starting out. Not many people are going to come in and say, oh, you have 10 years of experience, unless you were the person like developing for the last 10 years about like AI infrastructure, right? But most people are not. So a lot of people, when they're starting and they don't really have any talent and they don't really know what they're talking about, they take the role as a reporter. They don't really have to know what they're talking about too much. They just need to report the news on what's happening. So once they start doing that consistently, people can trust like, oh, every time I watch this person, he always tells me what's up in the space. It keeps me up to date. Then over time, your opinions and your takes on different things will become more and more respected because you become a voice in your community, right? And eventually you become an expert and you can sell the knowledge that you gained by making so many videos. Now, the other way to do it is if you do have experience, you want to position yourself as the expert or the experimenter. So when you're the expert, you're basically saying, I've done this, I've been doing it for so long, I had these results, let me teach you how to do it, right? Pretty obvious. So if you have like genuine skill, like you're a lawyer, a salesperson, an accountant, and you want to teach these skills online, take the role of an expert. Now, the other way, if you don't want to be perceived as like, oh, the know-it-all, what you can actually do is take the role as the experimenter as well. An experimenter essentially just tries different things. They say, hey, I have some knowledge, I'm trying some new stuff out. Some stuff will work, some stuff will not work, and let's just see how it goes and I'll report to you. So you still have the authority of like, you're kind of the expert. If you make a mistake, you try something, it doesn't work, you can always fall back on, no, it's just an experiment. That's just how it is. For anyone teaching, let's say personal branding, social media marketing, right? These things are constantly changing every month, like Instagram stories, reels, carousels, like 5 years ago, shorts didn't even exist. You cannot be an expert about something that doesn't exist quite yet, right? So you take the role of an experimenter for any industry that is really fast and always changing. So for example, if you're into crypto changes, the narrative changes like literally every week, right? So you can't know everything. So you experiment with different stuff. Social media is the same way. For me, as I teach personal branding and helping people, build an audience online, I understand every month YouTube changes, Instagram changes, LinkedIn changes, the different metas, different strategies, and fundamentals will always be there, but the nuances and techniques constantly change, which opens up an opportunity, right? The more change and faster something's moving, it's easier for a new person to come in. That's why you see like a lot of creators who are in niches like studying, for example, for like college students, right? That doesn't really make much money because college students don't have a lot of money to spend. So what they do instead is they say, hey, teaching people how to study doesn't really make much money, but what if I taught people how I grew my audience to this size and sold a course on how to become a creator? That's the narrative that they play, and it works. By creating all that content for a certain demographic, they gain the skill of learning how to create content and build an audience. I know people who literally in that exact same niche, they just kind of like let that channel die and they start an agency and use that channel as like clout and said like, hey, I got my following to X amount of hundreds of thousands, let me do it for you and your like SaaS business, and they can get clients that way. There's many ways to slice and dice it. You just have to understand where you are currently at. So don't be afraid of like, oh, I don't have enough experience. You can take a different role, right? Nobody said you have to pretend to be the expert. You be the reporter. You can get a lot of views that way. Now, if you wanted to do amazing stuff in your life and then start talking on YouTube, sure, you can do that. But I would say like you might as well just get started, document the journey, right? So whatever it is that you plan to do outside of your life to gain credibility, if you're too afraid to document that, that's more of a you issue where you're too afraid to put yourself out there, not that you're not ready. Now, when it comes to building a personal brand and monetizing it, I actually help a lot of people do this. One of my clients, actually Brandon, he's in the glass industry. He has a full-time job and he was able to make $3,000 a month on his first client in 2 weeks of working with me, just from talking to people in his network, building his personal brand, creating content, and then selling people on these editing and coaching services, right? Just helping them, film their videos of their construction sites and their glassware and everything like that. And then he'll edit it and they put it on LinkedIn and stuff and they generate leads. Don't think that you have to spend a whole year or 2 or 3 to build an audience. Like you can literally get started today. And as long as you have some kind of genuine skill, I mean, this person literally has a 9-to-5 and they're able to do it on the side. Like, you don't need a lot of followers to do it. You just need to understand the problems that people have and solve them. And with that offer he created with the $3,000 per month retainer, I mean, he's also going to take probably percentages of revenue in the future. I helped them actually create that from scratch. And that's what we do in the Founder X program, right? Through, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, as well as an online course. So if that interests you and you're actually serious about building a real personal brand that actually makes money, check the link in the description to learn about the program, sign up for the free training, see how the entire system works from A to Z on how you can do this for yourself, and then book a call with me and my team. And then we'll walk you through a custom strategy on how we can help you do this. Now, the next step when it comes to succeeding on YouTube specifically is packaging. Now, packaging is probably the most important part of succeeding on YouTube. And when I say packaging, it's really three things. It's starting with one big idea, so the video concept itself. Then it goes to the title and the thumbnail. So there's really three elements of what packaging is. For me personally, I spend about 60 to 70% of my brain energy on a video, on the packaging, not necessarily the video itself. Because if your packaging is good, that means people are going to click. Then once people click, then they're going to watch the rest of the video. Obviously, the video still has to be good, but you would rather optimize for the click versus optimizing for a very good video. Why is that? It's because if you don't get the clicks, then you just don't get any views. It's kind of like you're good at what you do, but nobody knows who you are. Now, the best way to find ideas, especially when it comes to the video idea, title, and the thumbnail, is really just to look at other channels. It could be in your niche or outside of your niche, and understand what are outliers. What are the videos on their channels that are recently popping off, right? So if somebody typically gets, let's say, 10K views every single video, and one particular video that week that they dropped, gets like 100K views, look at what that video is and try to understand what's the idea. Why does a thumbnail work? Why does a title work? And you basically take that, remix it, and apply it to your own niche, right? So I'm going to use my channel as an example of how I actually take inspiration from myself a lot of times. But just to be fair, like I do take inspiration from many other creators as well, inside my niche and outside of my niche. So this video is basically a video on like the YouTube masterclass, right? How to build a personal brand. So how did I come up with that? I basically took two of my good performing videos, basically these two, and combined them together, right? So this one's really hot for me. It's how to build a profitable personal brand from scratch with AI. So it worked really well. 75,000 views, it's climbing, so it's going to get to 100K views probably in like 2 weeks from now, right? Now this video, originally it didn't do that well, but then we made some changes to the title and thumbnail, which we'll talk about later in this video, but now it's starting to exponentially grow, right? So yeah, maybe it has like 7.6K views, but I see this video probably going to get to 50K plus views in the next couple of weeks, mainly because I see the trajectory and it's a video that people like. When I look at this, I can see I'm using a similar style thumbnail. It's like me, working on my computer, like, locked in. Text is, is very like, it's just really clear, right? It's like, this is how to start YouTube, how to build a personal brand. It's like a very clear, like this is like a master guide. When people look at it, the time length is like 33 minutes, 34 minutes. So you're like, when people see that psychologically, they're going to be like, all right, this is like a sick video. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to learn how to start my personal brand, right? What I essentially did for this video, and maybe you'll see the title changes, but for now, the working title right now is going to be how to build a personal brand on YouTube in 2025, full masterclass. So I'm taking two concepts that worked, that are exponentially growing for me, putting those ideas together, personal brand plus YouTube, and then it most likely is going to hit because the idea is good. I know that there's demand, the thumbnail is good, like everything, all the boxes are checking. The only thing I could do better is if I said how to build a profitable personal brand on YouTube with AI in 2025. That would probably be really interesting as well, right? Maybe I'll make that video later on. That's where my mind is going. So obviously I'm using myself as an example, but if I took one video where they had a master guide on how to blow up on LinkedIn, right? And then, another person was like, oh, like how to, blow up on YouTube with AI. I could be like, oh, well, I teach LinkedIn, so why don't I just do how to blow up your LinkedIn channel with AI? And that probably would work, right? So you want to just remix ideas that already work. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. You don't want to guess. Just look at what works, reverse engineer it, and just use it for yourself. It's all fair game. Everybody copies each other. That's just the reality of it. And it's a lot faster because if something's working for somebody, it's probably going to work for you if you remix it the right way. And if you do it the right way and you add your own flavor and sauce, it's not going to be perceived as a copycat. Which actually leads me to my next point, which is adding your own sauce. In a commoditized world where everyone is kind of teaching the same thing and everyone has the same information using ChatGPT, what makes your content stand out from everybody else? So it's not the message itself, it's going to be the messenger. I'll use myself as an example. I teach personal branding. Over the last year, there have been 1 million coaches that become personal brand experts, right? So what makes me different from everybody else? It's the way you do it. It's the way you speak. It's the style, your background, your ethnicity, where you come from, your story. the messenger becomes more important than the message when information becomes commoditized, meaning everybody has the same stuff. So now it comes to who do you want to watch and who do you want to work with? So how I think about this is, first, you want to stick to your money-making topics. So for example, I teach personal branding, which really is content creation and monetization, right? Those are the two things that I really focus on. I'm going to stick to that. But where I add the sauce is I stylize it with my passions, my interests, the things that I do for fun. Let's say if I'm doing an Instagram reel, right? And I want to do a short about like locking in and like, focus for, go ghost mode for 6 months and become a new person. If I were to make that video, what would I do? I would probably have a really nice voiceover of me, like, saying something motivational in a poetic kind of way. I would use really nice music that fits my particular style and my aesthetic. And as you can see in this video, you hear the music, you see the dark vibe, you see the neon lights. It's like a Neo Tokyo, kind of dark, assassin ninja kind of vibe, right? Which I'm intentionally doing. And then it might be me, going to different cafes, me traveling, me, doing Muay Thai, me training in a camp, like, just doing some kicks and some knees and elbows and things like that, right? And when I put all these things together, it makes me uniquely me. So if anyone were to talk about like locking in for 6 months, going ghost mode, I would have my own take on that based on the B-roll that I put in, based on my personal interests. And it's like, if someone else were to use anime in their, reel, would it work for them if they didn't like anime? Probably not. It probably wouldn't appeal to their audience because that's not who they're attracting. But when I do it, it feels very authentic. It feels very real. And that's the sauce that makes you different, because you don't need to have everybody love you. You just need enough people that really love you. Like if you have 1,000 true fans, you will make millions of dollars from that. That's what you have to understand. Like, use your passions and interests, but use it as the sauce so that you can keep your main topics, those money making niches. So now we're going to get into script writing, right? We got the high level vibe, you got the aesthetic, the creative direction, you know how to add sauce, but how do you actually write a YouTube script? Now I'm going to explain it to you in the simplest way possible. For a script, there are only a couple elements you need to understand. It's your intro, right? Which is all you're doing is catching their attention in the first 5 seconds and making a big promise of what they're going to get in the video, right? So if you think about a video, all it is make a big promise, deliver on the promise. There's a payoff and they feel like, yeah, I learned the thing that the guy promised, so he kept his word. I want to watch the next video. That's all it is. Now, to make that more interesting, so it's not just like how-to content, you want to have stories. You want to have interesting stories that support your big promise, right? So you're not stuck as a how-to creator. If you only do tutorials on how to write a cold email, no one's going to fall in love with your personal brand. They're only going to watch for, tips and tricks. But when you start telling your story, like if I said, I was working a 9-to-5 job and I hated it and I felt like I had golden handcuffs and I left it all to travel the world and move to Thailand, and I lost all my money, and then somehow I made it all back and then some by selling online courses, and I'm going to teach you how to sell online courses too. It's a story that people relate to, right? If I had just said, I'm going to teach you how to make money with courses, it's not as interesting. But if I tell this dynamic story of where I started, how I was just like you, here are the struggles that you also face and I overcame them, you're much more likely to buy something from me, right? So it's the stories that make it interesting. So in this entire video, I try to use as many examples as I can, whether it's what I personally do on my YouTube channel, how I help my clients make, quit their 9-to-5 jobs and make 10K plus per month. These are stories that are real and relatable that probably make you feel like, maybe I can do it too. Now from there, it's going to be the topic itself. So that's the meat of the video, right? So if I'm making a video on, YouTube masterclass, there are going to be certain things like script writing, adding your own sauce, right? This is the meat of it. And the story is what makes it unique. And the final piece is your call to actions. So you might have noticed in this video, I had already 2 call to actions, which is if you want to learn more about how to work directly with me and join my course and coaching, check out the link in the description, because I want people to check it out if they're truly interested in moving to the next step. But if they just want to watch the free content, that's cool too, right? But you need those call to actions because you need to direct the traffic in order to make money, right? You can't just make content and expect people to buy. You need to direct them somewhere so they know what the next step is. And a lot of times it's just free stuff, whether it's a free PDF. I do free Google Docs with like ChatGPT prompts. I do free trainings. I do a lot of different stuff, right? And it's just to get their attention to move them to the next step. So when you're writing your script, these are the main elements you need to pay attention to. And then from there, it's just filling out what the script is. Now, I'm going to share with you some advanced script writing techniques. So in a script, right? Like if you went to ChatGPT and you said, this is my topic, help me, here's my bullet points. Can you fill it in for me? It'll literally write you the script. So it's not that hard. But what's important to pay attention to is whether you're teaching or selling. Okay. So when you're doing teaching, like showing someone how to do something, you are creating how-to content, right? Here's how to create a thumbnail. That's teaching. Now, when you're selling in a video, which I actually recommend always selling in a video, even if you're teaching, it's like a video sales letter, right? So what that actually means is you're getting people to believe in certain beliefs that you need them to believe in order to buy something from you and like just subscribe to your channel. And the 3 beliefs you need someone to believe is they need to believe in, number 1, you are who you say you are and you're credible. Number 2 is they need to believe your vehicle. A vehicle is just your method on how you get them to achieve the goal. Because remember when I said you want to have a 0 to 1 transformation, like I have a 9-to-5 job and I want to travel the world and make money online by creating online courses, right? That's a 0 to 1. So how do you actually teach it? For me, it's about personal branding. So I need people to believe that they need to build a personal brand in order to achieve their dreams. And that's why they watch and that's why they buy. If they do not believe they need a personal brand, they're not gonna watch, right? Literally, they're gonna go to, watch something else, right? So believe in the vehicle. The last step is very important, and that is they need to believe that they can do it too. Because if they say, oh yeah, Patrick, like you can do it, but not me, I can't do it, then they're never gonna buy because they don't even believe in themselves. So how do you combat this? You use different examples to show them that, hey, like they can really do it too. When I share a client testimonial and I say like Brandon over here, literally working a 9-to-5 and he was able to make 3K after 2 weeks of working with me selling high ticket, $3,000 a month. And he's literally just a regular employee, just like you. And he just tapped into using his skills and selling it online. Like there's nothing that really makes him special. So why not you? You're probably just as smart, probably just as hardworking, but you just haven't realized certain things to monetize your skill sets. So when I say something like that, it just feels like you probably sit there and feel like, damn, man, like maybe I can do this too. And the truth is you can, right? You just have to integrate all this stuff into your content so that people truly buy into your brand and believe you. That way, when they finally get on a sales page or a sales call, or you ask them to book a call or you DM them, you kind of already instilled these 3 beliefs in them. So when you have that conversation, it's so much more easier. You don't have to convince them of anything. They're just like, how much does it cost and like, how does it work? Now, here's another strategy for you that will really, get that belief going. And that is telling stories with B-roll. Let me tell you what B-roll actually is, right? So A-roll is what you're seeing here. The camera's in front of me. I'm talking and I'm explaining something. That's the main thing. B-roll is basically footage that you put into a video where you use it to explain something, whether it's metaphorically or literally, right? So if I say something like, back when I was a 9-to-5 employee working in Silicon Valley. So when I say that, I'll have my editors pull up one of my old photos of my cubicle to tell that story. Now you want to continuously document things in your life so that maybe one day you will use this as content. That's why I took pictures of like my setup when I was living in my parents' bedroom trying to create content and figure it out, because I want to show people that I'm relatable. Like I was literally just like you. In fact, like I wasn't even doing that good when I started. I was living with my parents trying to figure things out. And when people see the beginning and then I contrast it with like, this is where I started and this is where I'm at now, then I roll in a bunch of B-roll of me like swimming with the whale sharks, on vacation, living the life in Vietnam, just like, doing cool stuff. They see that contrast and they're like, wow, like he actually made it. That's pretty cool. I want to do it too. The best way I've found personally to use it in the video, especially if you're doing more education, is you want to just use it as B-roll. So when you're filming a video, right? Let's say like this, I can sit down, film a video, one shot, it takes like, 30 minutes, done, right? Other people, they'll set up the camera here, then they'll set up the camera over there, then they have another camera, they probably do it 3 times, put it all together. It sounds like a lot of work, right? And does it really make that much of a difference? I'm not sure. But the most impactful thing you can do if you didn't want to do all that, and let's say you didn't have all these different filming spaces, is you do one video like this, and then when you're talking about different stories or events or examples, then you layer in the B-roll so that from the audience perspective, they can see visually all the things you're saying and you don't have to move around in different places. And once you build a library of B-roll, which I have, it's like you can just like keep pulling up the same images or different images, and you create new ones like every month, and then it just becomes fresh. And it's just the easiest way I found to do this. And just remember, when you're filming your shots, what I found to work the best is, you know, when it's more natural, right? Like when I film, like actually like stage a shot, like let's say me notebook, writing a notebook, it does work, right? And I use it. But the ones that feel the best is when I just have my iPhone or just have a camera and it just capture a moment. So the more effortless something feels, whether you planned really hard to make it look effortless or not, from the audience perspective, it's the strongest. So if someone just like snapped a photo of you speaking on stage, feels very powerful, versus if you stage yourself pretending to talk, it's not going to be as powerful, right? So people put a lot of effort into making things effortless. That's like the lesson there. So now that we've made the video, we got the scripts, we got the B-roll, what's the next logical step? It's really to improve your videos, right? Like most people, they put out videos and they maybe do like 100 videos and not getting traction. But when I ask them like, what's the problem? And they'll be like, I don't know. And I'll say, okay, like what is your watch time? What's your click-through rate? And they'll be like, oh, I don't even look at that. And I can see immediately that's the problem. So you need to look at your stats. I understand numbers, I can do math, I can do Excels and Google Sheets, but it's like, I don't want to look at the numbers all day. So the easiest way to look at it is two things. What's your click-through rate and what's your watch time? That's really the only thing you need to know to make videos that get subscribers. And the last piece is, you know, how many clicks are you getting to your website to actually generate sales, right? So those are really the three. But I want to kind of dive deep into that. So when it comes to your click-through rate is essentially when someone's looking on YouTube, they see all the content, what's the chance that they're going to click your video, right? So it's going to be a percentage. So like for me, you know, a video might range between 3% to 7%, right? That's typically the range I fall under. And I know that if I'm getting a 3% click-through rate, it's not a good title and thumbnail combo. If I'm getting a 7%, it's a killer thumbnail and title combo, and I should keep reusing that because it's working, right? So to show you how important it is, I had this video called 7 Dark Psychology Tricks to Sell Anything. And we A/B tested it, same thumbnail, different title, and then the other title is 7 Dark Psychology Sales Techniques to Sell Anything. So what is the difference? The only difference is one of them says tricks to sell anything, and the other one is sales techniques to sell anything. But that slight change in wording is a more than a 1% difference. That's the difference between literally thousands and thousands of views, because these things compound. So every percentage that you can increase your click-through rate makes a huge difference. So 3% is a big difference between 6%, for example, right? I'll actually pull up this video here. So if you are using a tool like vidIQ, for example, right? You can see, you know, on a person's video, how often they're changing the thumbnail and title. So when we put this video out, we A/B tested the title and thumbnail, and then we switched the thumbnail, so we changed the thumbnail a couple times, and then we changed the title a couple times, and then we landed on this one, which is the current one that we have. And based on all our, you know, experiments during this run in the first, like, let's call it like 10 days of the video's existence, you know, we made a significant improvement in the click-through rate. So a lot of times we'll have a video that doesn't do well in the beginning and we keep tweaking it because we like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is a good video, but maybe the click-through rate's just not that great. We just keep changing it until we're satisfied with the result. I'll give you another example. So we had a video called How to Start a YouTube Channel in 2025, right? When we put this out, it was like literally one of the worst performing videos I put out, right? Like there's a list on YouTube Studio where it shows like how good this is relative to the last 10 videos. It was literally number 10. So we kept changing the title and thumbnail because I'm like, this is a good video. It's just not hitting, you know? And then we changed the, you know, we're A/B testing the titles, trying different things, just different variations. And then in the end, we found this formula worked. So we basically took a video that was pretty much the worst performing over the last 10 videos. And then with changing the title and thumbnails in different combination, A/B testing, it's now like, give this video like 30 days. It will be one of the best performing videos I put out in the last 10 videos. I'm pretty confident about that because if you look at the growth after these changes, now like it flattened out in the first 2 or 3 days, and now it's exponentially going. You want to see that hockey stick curve, right? So when I see that video and it hits, let's say 8K views and it's exponentially growing, I'm super confident it's going to get to 40K views. Now, if it gets to 40K views and it's still exponentially growing, I'm confident it's going to get to 100K views, right? Like when I know when a video doesn't do that well, when it stops going hockey stick and it just like kind of tapers out, then I'm like, okay, like that's pretty much where it's going to end up and that's the limit and it's done. But if it keeps growing like that, like some of my videos, they'll literally just keep getting views month over month and they'll get like, you know, hundreds of thousands of views. And it's like, you can't necessarily control which video it's going to hit like that. A lot of it's really the algorithm and A/B testing titles and thumbnails. Now you can do your best to manufacture it as much as possible. But at the end of the day, you know, some content hits, some doesn't. It is what it is. So you just have to do your best, roll the dice and find ways to optimize. You can definitely engineer virality for sure. But honestly, when you're creating so many different videos, like it's like you have to understand not everything is going to hit every single time, even if you tried your best. Now, if you're actually serious about starting a YouTube channel and making money as a creator, building your personal brand and selling high ticket offers, I highly encourage you to check out FounderX, because like if you have a 9-to-5 job and you're trying to figure out a way to escape and really just make money online, I've helped so many people at this point leave their 9-to-5 jobs and make a full-time income, primarily selling coaching, consulting, services, and online courses, right? This is pretty much what it's made for. So I'm going to give you an example of Tyler. Tyler is actually one of my clients. And dude, when I met him, he was actually kind of like struggling in high ticket closing. You know, he was doing some remote sales roles and he was just not really closing anything. And he was working at good offers too. So it wasn't the product, product was selling. It was just him, he wasn't closing. So basically he joined the program. First, he learned how to sell, which I teach in the program. Then he started killing it in the sales, like as a closer. And then I told him like, look, bro, like you're talented, you're smart. Like you might as well just create your own offer at this point. Like you have the skills. And he's like, oh, okay, let me give it a shot. So he literally created an offer. I think it was like the first or second week after he created, he signed his first high ticket client for 4K. He's making much more than 10K per month, because he showed me his screenshot of his Stripe, and like he's making like tens of thousands of dollars per month, right? And now he has a team. Like literally going from a struggling sales rep to making 10K plus a month, more than 10K plus a month, and having a team to support him in a matter of just a few months, really. So with the right information and the knowledge and someone guiding you through the process, it's going to be so much easier. And how I personally do it is through one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and online courses put together in a package. So if you're interested in that, the link in the description will kind of walk you through my entire process, and it'll show you more in detail how exactly the program works and how we actually help people, and I'll give you more testimonials and examples. Then from there, if it makes sense, you just book a call with me and my team, and we will show you how we can help you and really devise a customized strategy for you, right? So for Tyler and all the examples I gave you, it's actually me sitting down with them like on a one-on-one capacity, helping them figure out what to sell, how to sell it, how to get their name out there, you know. And because of that clarity of just like literally one call, somebody can go from zero to signing their first high ticket client in a matter of just like 2 weeks. And I've done it for many people at this point, not just like these two, but many people. So if you're interested in that, you just want to give it a shot and just learn more about like how I work, link is in the description, sign up for the free training, and we will talk to you soon.